Okay friends, let's go through the first series of Virology, General Microbiology. This is the first series of Virology and here we discuss about the aspects of General Microbiology. Friends, this is the part 1 video of General Microbiology series. We discuss about the introduction to microbiology. Here we describe the definition of microbiology, scope of microbiology, application of microbiology, and history and developments in microbiology. First of all, we're going through the subject microbiology. So friends, what is microbiology? The term microbiology comes from the three words micros, bios and logos, where micros means small and bios means life and logos means science. So microbiology is a science which describes and study about the small living creatures. So in definition we can say that microbiology is study of all living organisms that are too small to be visible with our naked eye, and this includes bacteria, archaea, viruses, fungi, prions, protozoa and algae. So these are collectively known as microbes. Okay friends, microbiology is defined not only by the organism it studies but also the tools used to study them, like staining techniques, cultural techniques and so on. So microbiology is a vast and multidisciplinary field which overlaps with other life sciences such as genetics, biochemistry, molecular biology and even engineering. So the science of microbiology aims to gain and expand our fundamental understanding of microorganisms by studying their morphology, metabolism, physiology, reproduction, genetics and their interaction between environment and so-called ecology. Friends, now we can discuss about the scope of microbiology. When we discuss about the scope of microbiology, microorganisms are present everywhere on earth, which include humans, animals, plants and other living creatures, and they are also present in soil, water and atmosphere. But they can only multiply in all three habits except in the atmosphere. Together their numbers far exceed all other living cells on this planet. Microorganisms are relevant to all of us in multitude ways. The influence of microorganisms in human life is both beneficial as well as detrimental also. For example, microorganisms are required for the production of bread, cheese, yogurt, alcohol, wine, beer, antibiotics like penicillin, streptomycin, chloromycin, were also used for vaccine, vitamins, enzymes and other important production of products. And microorganisms are indispensable component of our ecosystem and they play an important role in recycling of organic and inorganic materials through their roles in carbon, nitrogen and sulfur cycles. They are also the sources of nutrients at the base of our ectotrophical food chain and wealth. In many ways, all other forms of life depend on these microorganisms. Microorganisms are also have harmed humans and disrupted the society over the millennia. Microbial disease undoubtedly played a major role in the historical events such as decline of the Roman Empire and the conquest of the New World. In addition to health threats from some microorganisms, many microbes spoil food and deteriorate the materials like ant pipe, glass lenses, computer chips, jet fuel, paint, etc. And there is a vast scope in field of microbiology due to the advancement in science and technology. The scope in this field is immense due to the involvement of microbiology in many fields like medicine, pharmacy, dairy, clinical research, water, and agriculture industries. The study of microbiology contributes greatly to the understanding of life through enhancement and intervention of microorganisms. And currently, there is an increase in demand of microbiologists globally. Now we can move through the applications of microbiology. When we look into the applications of microbiology, microbiology is applied in agricultural microbiology to combat plant disease that attacks important food crops and work on methods to increase soil fertility and crop yield. Currently, there is a great interest in using bacterial or viral insect pathogens as a substitute for chemical pesticides. And they are also applied in microbial ecology for studying the biogeochemical cycles and bioremediation of the pollution effects. And in food and dairy microbiology, we try to prevent microbial spoilage of food and transmission of foodborne diseases such as botulism and salmonellosis. Using of microorganisms to make food such as cheese, yogurt, pickles and peas is a great way to the applications of microbiology in food industry. And in industrial microbiology, we use these microbes to produce antibiotics, vaccines, steroids, alcohol and other solvents. And they are also produce vitamins, amino acids and enzymes that are useful for the humankind. And microbiology is applied in microbial physiology and biochemistry to study the nitrogen fixation efforts of chemical and physical agents on microbial growth and their survival. And microbial genetics and molecular biology uses microbiology for studying the genetic information, and it is regulated the development and function of cell and organism, development of new microbial strains that are important for the industrial production of different products. The another field where microbiology is applied is genetic engineering, where we work microbial genetics and molecular biology, and here engineered microorganisms are used to make hormones, antibiotics, vaccines and other useful products, and new genes can be inserted to the plants and animals. In environment, microbiology is applied for microbes are responsible for the cycling of carbon, nitrogen and phosphorus as a biogeochemical cycle and maintain the ecological balance on Earth. They are found in association with plants in symbiotic relationship and maintain the soil fertility, and they are also being used to clean up the environment of toxic compounds and the process called bioremediation. And some are devastating plant pathogens, but other act as a biological control agent against the disease. In medicine field, microbiology is used for studying different diseases and producing vaccines and antibiotics for particular diseases such as smallpox, cholera, malaria, and etc., and provided us with the means of their control in the form of antibiotics and other medically important drugs. Friends, microbiology is also used in food industry to produce different types of food, from brewing and wine making, and they are used in cheese production and bread making, and also the manufacture of soya sauce involves the microbial cultures, and microbes are responsible for food spoilage also. In biotechnology, microbiology is used for commercial applications including the synthesis of acetone, organic acids, enzymes, alcohol and many drugs. And genetic engineering uses microbiology for producing bacteria that can produce important therapeutic substances such as insulin, human growth hormones and interferons. In research, microbiology is a vast field to study about the small microorganisms which are simple in structure, and they are easier to study most life processes in simple unicellular organisms than in a complex multicellular one. Millions of copies of the same single cell can be produced in large numbers very quickly at a low cost to give plenty of homogeneous experimental material. Because they reproduce very quickly, they are useful for studies involving the transfer of genetic information. What is microbe? As we discussed earlier, microbes are minute, unicellular or multicellular organisms that are invisible to see with our naked eye, and they are also known as microorganisms or microscopic organisms, as they could only be seen under a microscope. The term microbes is used to describe several different life forms with different sizes and characteristics, and few of these microbes include bacteria, fungi, protists, viruses, archaea, and algae. And microbes can be useful as well as harmful. Certain microbes cause severe infections and disease and also spoil food, while others is used for important roles in environment and other industries. Now, role of microbiologists. Microbiologists have a great role in the society. They study the world of organisms that are too small to be seen with the naked eye. Some of these organisms are infectious agents to humans, animals, or plants. Many of these organisms, however, carry out important functions in their nature that are essential for life on Earth. Microbiologists study the interactions of microorganisms with people and how they affect our lives, as well as the role of these organisms play in the environment. Microbiologists work in hospitals, universities, medical schools, government laboratories, and almost every industry, specializing in a variety of areas from agriculture to the space industry. A typical work activities include identifying the microorganisms and tracking them in a range of environments, testing samples, developing new medicine, vaccines, and other methods to prevent the spread of disease, as well as managing and overseeing laboratory work. Other roles can also include collecting samples from different types of environment, quality control in manufacturing, producing reports, and advising external bodies. A common feature of microbiologist work is repeat experiment in order to establish accurate data while using a range of analytical techniques, powerful electron microscopes and specialist computer softwares. Some of these key skills required include meticulous attention to detail and the ability to work independently as well as with a larger research teams. Now we are moving to the history of microbiology. The history and origin of microbiology. When before microorganisms were seen, some investigators suspected their existence and role in disease. Roman philosopher Lucretius in about 98 to 55 BC and the physician Girolamo Fricastro suggested that disease was caused by invisible living creatures. The earliest microscopic observation of organisms was done in 6025 to 6030 on bees and weasels by Francisco Tutility and using a microscope probably supplied by Galileo. Robert Hooke in 6065 published first drawing of microorganisms like fungus, mucus in his book Micrographia, and this book also provides information on building microscope. In the 1970s and the decades thereafter, a Dutch merchant named Anton van Leeuwenhoek made careful observations of microscopic organisms which he called animalcules. Until his death in 1723, van Leeuwenhoek revealed the microscopic world to the scientists of the day and is regarded as one of the first to provide accurate description of protozoa, fungi and bacteria. Louis Pasteur and the germ theory. Louis Pasteur worked in the middle and late 1800s. He performed numerous experiments to discover why wine and dairy products become sour, and he found that bacteria were to be blamed. Pasteur called attention to the importance of microorganisms in everyday life and stirred scientists to think that if bacteria could make wine sick, then perhaps they would cause human illness. After van Leeuwenhoek died, the study of microbiology did not develop rapidly because microscopes were rare and the interest in microorganisms was not high. In those years, scientists debated the theory of spontaneous generation, which stated that microorganisms arise from lifeless matter such as beef broth. This theory was disputed by Francisco Reddy, who showed that fly maggots do not arise from decaying meat as others believe. The meat is covered to prevent the entry of flies. An English cook named John Needham advanced spontaneous generation, but Larasos Falancy disputed the theory by showing that boiled broth would not give rise to microscopic forms of life. Pasteur had to disapprove spontaneous generation to sustain his theories, and he therefore devised a series of swan neck flasks filled with broth. He left the flask of broth open to air, but the flask had a curve in the neck so that microorganisms would fall into the neck, not the broth. And the flask did not become contaminated as he predicted they would not. And Pasteur's experiment put to rest the notion of spontaneous generation. His work also encouraged the belief that microorganisms were in the air and could cause disease. Pasteur postulated the germ theory of disease, which states that microorganisms are the causes of infectious disease. Pasteur's attempts to prove the germ theory were unsuccessful. However, the German scientist Robert Koch provided the proof by cultivating anthrax bacteria apart from any other type of organism. He then injected the pure cultures of the bacilli into mice and showed that bacilli invariably caused anthrax. The procedures used by Koch have to be known as Koch's postulates, and they provided a set of principles thereby other microorganisms would be related to other diseases. Friends, with the development of microbiology, there came four important concepts. First one, the discovery of microorganisms and refute the spontaneous generation. And second one, pure culture concept, which was introduced by Robert Koch. And second, germ theory of disease proved the role of microorganisms in causing disease. And it is put forward by Robert Koch and demonstrated the 6 different infections in mice caused by 6 different bacteria and demonstrated anthrax was caused by bacteria. And the Koch's work and other led to the golden age of microbiology. First one, the cause of many diseases were determined, improved the cultural methods and improved the staining techniques. Okay friends, in 1816, Joseph Lister developed an aseptical surgical technique used carbolic acid or phenol to treat dressings. And the cell theory put forward by Matthew Sheldon, Theodore Schwann and Rudolf Virchow have a great importance in the history of microbiology. And later, the role of microorganisms in chemical transformation like fermentation process was demonstrated in producing yeast-generated alcohol, and it was done by Pasteur and Bechner, and Bechner discovered enzymes. And many field of studies was developed from microbiology, and the important field of studies or areas developed from microbiology are immunology, chemotherapy, virology, and molecular biology. In immunology, in 1796, Jenner proves that immunity to smallpox conferred by inoculation with cowpox. In 1881, Pasteur proved that it used the attenuated virus for immunization against rabies, and 1884, Metcalfe observed phagocytosis and proved cellular theory of immunity. In 1819, Emil von Behring immunity in cell-free proportions of blood and proves humoral theory. And in the field of chemotherapy, 1908, Ehrlich treated syphilis by the drug salvarsan, an arsenic derivative, and in 1929, Fleming introduced the first antibiotics called penicillin, and later in 1944, Waxman introduced the second antibiotic streptomycin, and in 1950s, many antibiotics were discovered. Microbiology is virology, where in 1892, Ivanovsky showed an agent passing through a filtrate caused a disease in plants. In 1931, cultivation of viruses in chick embryos were started, and in 1949, cultivation in cell cultures were introduced. In the field of molecular biology, monoclonal antibodies was developed by Kohler and Niston in 1975 by fused myeloma and antibody producing cell called hybridoma, which generate monoclonal antibodies. In genetic engineering, 1973, Chakrabarty transferred genes from one organism to another. Microbiology is showing a timeline from 1600 to biology, that is 1997. And friends, then we can move to the development of microbiology. And development of microbiology in the late 1800s and for the first decade of 19,000, the scientists seized the opportunity to further develop the germ theory of disease as initiated by the Pasteur and proved by Koch. There emerged a golden age of microbiology during which many agents of different infectious diseases were identified. Many of these ecological agents of microbiological disease were discovered during that period, leading to the ability to halt epidemics by interrupting the spread of microorganisms. Despite the advances in microbiology, it was rarely possible to render life-saving therapy to an infected patient. Then after World War II, the antibiotics were introduced into medicine, and the incidence of pneumonia, tuberculosis, meningitis, syphilis, and many other diseases declined the use of antibiotics. Work with viruses could not be effectively performed until instruments were developed to help scientists and see these diseases cause agent, in which 1914s the electron microscope was developed and perfected. In that decade, cultivation methods for viruses were also introduced and knowledge of viruses developed rapidly. With the development of vaccines in 1950s and 1960s, such viral diseases as polio, measles, mumps, and rubella came under control. Modern microbiology reaches into many fields of human endeavor, including the development of pharmaceutical products, the use of quality control methods in food and dairy product production, the control of disease-causing microorganisms in consumable waters, and the industrial application of microorganisms. Microorganisms are used to produce vitamins, amino acids, enzymes, and cloth supplements. They manufacture many food, including fermented dairy products like yogurt and buttermilk, as well as other fermented foods such as pickles, soaked food, bread, alcoholic beverages. One of the major use of applied microbiology is biotechnology. In this discipline, microorganisms are used as living factories to produce pharmaceuticals that otherwise could not be manufactured. These substances include human hormones, insulin, and the antiviral substance interferon, numerous blood clotting factors, and clot-dissolving enzymes, and a number of vaccines. Bacteria can be re-engineered to increase plant resistance to insects and frosts, and the biotechnology will represent a major application of microorganisms in the next century. Friends, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If If you like this video, please like and share our video and subscribe our channel. Also click the bell icon for getting the notifications of upcoming videos. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And till then, signing off, yours Anish Sudhakaran. Thank you, friends.